Research shows that 70% of difficult conversations are avoided. 70%. That means that 7 out of every 10 conversations that could improve a relationship actually never happen. Now, I'm Lesli Doris, your marriage coach and the wife whisperer. And here's what's really interesting. Most husbands think that they avoid these conversations because they don't know what to say. And I don't actually think that's true. In fact, after more than 20 years of helping couples improve their marriages, I've come to a very, very different conclusion that it's not a communication problem. It's actually something much deeper. So if you're like many of the men I work with, you're successful in your career. You negotiate, you lead meetings, you solve problems. You do have uncomfortable conversations with employees or clients. So nobody would describe you as someone who avoids them. And yet, when it comes to talking with your wife about something that really matters, whether it's intimacy or money or parenting or just feeling disconnected, suddenly the conversation gets postponed. Tomorrow becomes next week becomes next month, and so on. Sound familiar? So here's what usually happens. You spend days thinking about it. You might even rehearse what you're going to say. You imagine how your wife is going to respond. You prepare your defense before the conversation has even started. And then finally, you actually have the conversation. And maybe it goes well. And as soon as it's over, you feel relief. Not because everything is fixed, but simply because it's over. And that should tell you something. The anticipation of the conversation was more exhausting than the conversation itself, which means that the conversation wasn't the real problem. The discomfort was. Now, most marriage advice tells you to learn better communication skills, to use I statements, to listen more, to validate her feelings. And those are all really good ideas. But here's my question. Have you ever known exactly what you should say and then said something completely different? Of course you have. And those are the conversations that get derailed into arguments, silence, defensiveness. Those are the ones where your anxiety was justified. But did you suddenly forget everything you knew about communication? No, not really. You just lost access to it because when emotions rise, your nervous system takes over. And instead of listening, you defend. Instead of asking questions, you explain. Instead of staying connected, you protect yourself. And that's why I don't think most husbands have a communication problem. I think they have a capacity problem. The capacity to stay present when the conversation becomes uncomfortable. And here's the good news. Capacity can be developed, just like strength or endurance. Now, the goal isn't to become perfect. The goal is to become the kind of husband who can stay calm, stay curious, and stay connected, even when the conversation gets uncomfortable. Because that's where trust grows, that's where intimacy deepens, and that's where marriages change. So next time, I'm going to explain to you why your brain hijacks conversations and what you can do about it. Because information doesn't transform marriages. Insight and action do. So if you found this helpful, please share it with your friends. please subscribe to the channel. And if you're really ready to develop capacity, then I invite you to get in touch with me. You can send me an email at Lesli, Lesli, at foundationscoachingnc.com, or you can put a comment down below and I'll get in touch with you. So until next week, stay loving.